Hey everyone, welcome to the Tellor community call. What's the date? September 14th, I think. Yeah, just we were watching Gensler testimony in front of the Senate. It was a good time, so maybe we'll have some regulatory questions, but he basically thinks all of crypto should be illegal. So little TLDR for you guys if you don't want to watch it. But anyway, on to what we're actually working on. Things are going really well. So Tellor X is off for an audit. We found a few minor issues, and then the auditors found a few minor things too. So we're just still like in that testing phase. We're mainly one of the bigger things that we're working on. We'd love some feedback on from potential users and things. Is we're working on the data IDs. So like, we're moving from like the old version of numerical IDs, like ID1, ID2, to where it's just bytes 32. So it can actually mean something, like be a hash of something. But then how that flow works is something we're still kind of working out. So like whenever you request something, it's this hashed variable. And then we're making a new field where then you can enter in the information that you actually need to go and fetch said hashed variable. But then you need some way, like, well, the miners need a way so that they have this information, but like, how do they actually parse it? So like, the specs should be somewhere like on GitHub or an IPFS, and how all of that links, like we're putting enough data on chain to hopefully be able to handle whatever scenario we eventually settle on. But we're still kind of playing out with how that's going to work, to be honest. Like for the base IDs, like ID1 is the ETH dollar, ID50 is TRB, like those ones we already have down, like those are simple and easy and we know how to point, but we're trying to think like, if you're trying to do like bridging, so like we need to pass over Bitcoin block headers, we need to pass over specific balances or bytes data from a specific contract on a specific chain. How do you parse that information from a request ID? And we're still kind of thinking that one out. So there's not a right answer. It's just figuring it out. So that's what we're working on. Well, that's like kind of what I'm working on. So other people were working, Clam Dad down there and Owen are off. They're working on the new version of Tellor. It's looking really, really beautiful. Definitely weigh in if you guys are a Python developer. And then also on some of the half dev, half community side, the Ample feed's looking really good. We're gonna submit another proposal to Ampleforth, kind of an analysis that shows we're beating Chainlink over the past few weeks on being close to what they say the official is. So it's looking really promising. And then, anything on your guys' side, Ryan?
Yeah, so this week, Friday, the ETHOnline Hackathon starts. So we're excited about that. We have a couple, we have like the ethereum.org tutorial up. So that's going to be a nice supplement for the hackers. And then they also have like a brainstorm template for the hackers to just kind of get ideas to base on. So we're adding stuff to that as well. So that's going to be kind of a new approach for how we're attacking these hackathons. Also, we have Consensus Academy reached out to us, so they want us to speak at their boot camp that's going on right now, and that's great because that's like a really good audience for us to be in front of. Consensus Academy is just like it's a good group of people. I actually was part of one of the guys' meetups when I used to live in New York, so got some up close experience with them, so that'll be good. Nick will be speaking at one of their classes. Also,
you didn't sign Brenda or Mike up for either of those?
Well, Mike's back down. Mike thought it would just be appropriate for you just to start, and then if they want to build off, we can do that. But
sign them up too. They gotta. they gave us like 10 topics. Like I don't need to speak on all of them. Pass these around. So. Yeah, wait, we can talk to Anthony.
We also have the website. It's coming together very well. It's going to be more like more of a hub than a website. I think right now the current website works more like a brochure, and we're kind of we want it to feel more like a network that the community can be a part of. So that's coming along very nicely. And also shout out to Imagine Being at Computers. He's been a community member that's been contributing a lot, and he's kind of just coming towards that ethos of us open sourcing that contribution aspect of the community. And then, yeah, I think that's it from our end.
Cool. Yeah, and then yeah, I think the big thing is just the ETHOnline stuff. Did we do a new video for them?
We didn't do a new hackathon video, no. But we do have just more supplemental tutorial. We're also doing another article I think we're still working on, kind of like a checklist of checklist to go through to make sure that you actually need an Oracle and how to start that up.
Yeah, I think the big thing we can do too is so like we've sometimes had good participation in these hackathons, and sometimes we haven't had good participation.
Right.
And I was thinking like we should just like, so it starts on 17th, I think.
It's Friday, yeah.
We should just like go through, so like on the team formation page and like on the idea generation page, like we should make sure that us or a community member is there, like, hey, we need an idea, we'll give you an idea. Or like if somebody like is like, hey, we want to use an Oracle, or we need an Oracle for this. If it sounds like they might need an Oracle, jump in there and be like, guys, we're here. Same with like we maybe we can even go like monitor chain links and then go poach teams or something.
Style,
like,
nice.
Yeah, something, like how do we, just like go introduce ourselves and really, because like like that's like I remember like what did I do like whenever we would go in person to these hackathons, and I would just go like walk around to every single table and ask if they'd heard Tellor, and like how do we sort of mimic that in a virtual environment? And I don't know.
Yeah, there's a guy who sent me a message because I'm in that, and he basically gave me, I forget what company it was for, but they have like a preset web page basically with all these project ideas that you would use their service for, and it's basically just getting it out to people and saying, hey, if you're looking for an idea, check this out, for like inspiration purposes. You could always do something like that too.
How did that come off? Did that come off in a good way?
I was like, oh, that's kind of helpful actually, because I don't know what to do. So
yeah, no, let's put something together quick, and we can start sending it around, because I think that would be super helpful for people.
Totally.
Even if people are just all making the same kind of thing, like everyone always redoes things at hackathons. Like,
yeah,
the point of them. So cool. Okay. Yeah, that'll be good. And then who here is doing the hackathon? Lauren, you obviously are. Anyone else?
I might sign up, but I only have 24 hours left to do it, so I better make a decision.
Are you quoting the email we all got today or something? Yeah. Yeah.
I signed up too.
Okay.
Looking forward to putting something together.
Nice.
if you guys want to be a team, let me know. I don't have one yet.
You're supposed to go make friends in the space, Lauren.
I know. I got a message from someone, but they wanted something really, really complicated. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
with like GIS or something. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, speaking of Lauren, she put together a nice little analysis. So, do you want to give the background on it? And I'll fill in if you need any help. But yeah, floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah. Let me pick what I want to share here. So here, I just have like the PDF up. You can get the notebook. Basically, Nick came to me and said that Reflexer was interested in using Tellor, but only if the Chainlink and Maker oracles had a lag of 3 hours or longer. So basically just to see how often Tellor would actually be used in that scenario. And so I've never done any of like the connecting to contracts or anything through Python. So it was a good way to learn how all of that works. So starting up here, I just started with Infura project and then used Web3 to link it together, and got the addresses, converted them, got the ABIs off of Etherscan. And Chris's project was really helpful too. And he answered some questions to me about the basics behind everything. But we both ran into a similar problem with Chainlink. So they make it really easy to get their latest data and then to also move backwards from there. So each round has like this thing called a round ID, which is this one right here. Yeah, it's the first one in their return. And then they tell you like when the round started, when it ended, what's the price basically, and then answered in round. So these first and second ones are usually the same. The problem with that is that if you keep incrementing back in time, so the round IDs are incremental. So what Chris did was just subtract 1. So I just kind of used the same idea. If you keep going back and back, it breaks around May 11th, I believe, or May 12th. And Chris said basically that that is probably just when they started using that structure, and that there basically just isn't data before that you can get to in this manner. So that makes sense. So if I want to go past May backwards, I can always use June, which I ended up using for Maker as well. So what I did is just got the current data, started all these lists basically, and then, yeah, right here is where I'm talking about that problem. And then you go back. So you're incrementing the current round -1 as you go, getting the data, and then just kind of aggregating all of it into lists so that you can run an extra operation to see what the difference is between those. This one took a very long time, and I ended up printing everything out just so that I could see what the answers were when it broke and what was weird about it. I decided that I wanted to try, instead of doing a loop where you were incrementing down by 1 every single time, was to just make a range of it, of the round ID, since they were incremented by 1. So it's less complicated. So I did that down here, just making an array with NumPy. I did 8,000 of them because that's all that this allowed. I tried it with a lot larger. So I think 10,000 I tried and it broke at the same one. So there's just no data past a certain amount. And then here, just using a list comprehension. I can't scroll because it got cut off because it's a PDF, but it's just applying that function to every element in that array and then putting it into a pandas data frame. So this one was a lot faster than the incrementing one that Chris had used. So I think when I do this in the future with all of the charts and stuff that we're planning on making, I'm definitely going to use this method. Putting it into a data frame, and then this is also really easy to take out and use the datetime module and things like that to apply to each column so that you can read it out better. So I use datetime here to calculate the differences. So Chainlink basically never had a lag that was greater than 3 hours since May 12th. So good for them.
Well, I think it's so, yeah, on Link's issue. So like, I know they had outages back in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder if they changed how you access the information so nobody could see it. And
That
then
would
they
be
had
interesting.
they had a lot of outages back in last November for the Ample feed, which was one of the reasons Ample, like originally, that was like one of our original pushes with Ample, was because they had like a week of downtime, I think, or something like that back in like November. And I don't know what the ETHOnline feed looked like, but that's what I'm guessing. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to pull this back farther so then we can,
yeah.
we can catch
So I was
them.
thinking too, if this method didn't work, we could just use Doom, because that's what I ended up using for Maker. So they don't have a function that directs you to the next round. It's just kind of harder to look backwards than it is with Chainlink. So I ended up using Dune Analytics for it. And they have a few different functions, but the poke one is the one that actually updates the Oracle. So that's the one that I looked at to see when they had successful updates. And that was really easy to bring in pandas, and then another list comprehension, just applying that datetime format, and then being able to see. So since November 2019, they've had 537 times where it's been longer than 3 hours. But since around that same time in May, there was a gap in the data from May 5th to May 21st. So that's a gap in and of itself. But since the 21st, it was 10. So basically, Tellor would have been brought in as a backup for a total of 10 times since May in this scenario where we're being used as a backup between these two. And I can look back further too if I can get the Dune data from Chainlink. past May when they're trying to hide it or
Yeah.
whatever is going on there.
No, this awesome.
And I was gonna add Tellor into today, but then I didn't have time because we had another meeting, but I can add that in too.
Yeah, no, this is super helpful. Yeah, I mean, I think Tellor you'll find actually a lot of times where we're over 3 hours, but like we haven't really been targeted for it. And like that's what like I don't know, because like I know Rye for using Maker, like like are you I think it's just how you structure it, like maybe they both are saying that they're going to update it more frequently, but like with Maker and Chainlink, you're not in control of when they update, which is the problem. Like with Tellor, like if you throw $100 tip in there, it'll get updated right away. Whereas with Chainlink, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah.
So that's why like it's almost more important to see whenever they're updating, because you're just trusting them.
I think 3 hours would be really rare.
For us,
Yeah.
yeah, but like over the past few months, like the times the gas price spikes really high.
It's just out of everyone's control. Though.
Yeah.
Gas price.
Usually it rarely goes more than an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Spuds, can you guys hear Spuddy?
No.
But Spuddy said it rarely goes past an hour and a half, even on high gas price days. He's our resident miner.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, Lauren, any other comments? How was working with chain data?
It was
Was it
fun.
good?
Yeah. It was
It's like
good.
your first project gathering, being a data
Yeah.
scientist in the space.
It was exciting. Something new and
Nice.
different.
How was Dune?
It's good. There's a lot of stuff on there, so it's kind of hard to organize all of it, I guess, because of the sheer amount of data that they have. But it's good. I'm learning it. And there's a lot of like pre-made dashboards and queries and stuff that you can look at and just see how people choose to structure their own projects. So that's helpful to look at too. So I think we might end up using it for some of our price comparison charts that we're going to make.
Cool. Yeah,
So.
thank you very much. Cool. Well, Ryan, on to the questions, and then we can.
Question
What are they?
time. All right, guys. First one is any sore muscles after running?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. We're feeling good now. It's Tuesday,
I'm not.
so.
For a little context, I don't know if everybody knows, but the Tellor team ran a marathon, not a marathon.
It was 1 mile. We
1 mile,
raised
like a
1
marathon
mile.
to me.
It was
A little different.
literally like under 10 minutes for
I
all
don't
of us.
run. I'm not a runner. I just marathon is the first word that comes to mind. Leave me alone. All right, next question. Where do you see the price of Tellor? Where do you see the price of TRB at the end of 2021?
Man, I don't know if we're legally allowed to make price predictions. It's like, yeah.
All
Don't
right.
do that.
This is an interesting one. Charles or Vitalik? Who would you rather have on the team?
I'm guessing they mean Charles Hoskinson.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Leader of Cardano.
For the entertainment factor, Charles.
Yeah. No, I mean it's one of the, like I don't know, I guess Vitalik, but at the same time, like Charles, like the fact that he's made it be worth so much and having so little actual work done is
Talent.
it's really,
In and of
yeah,
itself.
it's sort of impressive. Like imagine if he had something actually tangible, what he could do with it. So
That's a hard turn.
Yeah. He would put out so much content for us, just like his daily video blogs.
Anyway.
Do you guys get rewards for staking with Tellor X?
Do we?
If we stake,
If we staked, yeah.
which we plan on doing.
So
Okay. I don't know, how much is the BON TRB solution currently needed? Or maybe that's a stake.
Before mining?
yeah, maybe just so like with Tellor X, we're moving to reporters needing 100 TRB, and maybe calling it a bond.
Yeah.
Some people call the stake a bond.
Currently it's 500. We're going to 100.
Yeah.
Any big partnerships for the future?
Pass.
I mean, we're working, you guys know, we're all working on Ampleforth. There's a lot of effort in that regard. That's a sort of a decentralized partnership integration. So that's the big one.
Will there be an open question and answer session with the Tellor team and together with the investors, for example, on Discord?
We don't really have any investors. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
but if you have questions, they can always. come
this is
here.
always an open
Oh.
forum.
Anybody can ask the question on Discord at any time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Discord is always an open.
Non-stop AMA.
So Tammy, maybe we can try and get one of the Binance people as on as an investor. I mean,
Good tech or Flora. in there.
yeah, and like my dad was an investor. He was like my angels. He'll help me quit my job, but you probably don't want to talk
It'll
to
be
him
even
about
bigger story than
it.
You brush your teeth today? Okay, I think that's it. That's all the questions.
Cool.
Awesome.
Super cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Let us know if you guys need anything. Like we said, Discord's always open questions, and yeah, looking forward to next week. Anyway, see you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Lauren.